Hi, welcome to the Old World Show. We've got a second video in a week. Would you Adam and Eve it? Which is unheard of, really. I'm joined by Andy again. Obviously, the other half of the Old World Show. How you doing, Andy?
Hello, how are you?
Hi. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. We've got a bit of off. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird video for us. Not something that we've done before. Okay. So we were actually approached by our good friend of the channel, Ed from Close Order, who said, it'd be really cool if you could get some sort of chain going where we would all do 25 predictions for 2025. So that is what we are doing today. It should be quite interesting. What do you reckon, Andrew?
I can't stop staring at your cloak.
Mate, it's like minus 81 in Runcorn at the moment. It's ridiculous. I'm so sorry. I am actually freezing.
You're
My,
ridiculous.
yeah, I know. But this is the best blanket in the world. So,
You
uh,
look like Denethor from Lord of the Rings.
I know. Yeah, that's fun. I would have wished that. I know. Um, so why don't we start with you, Andy? Because you've got we figure we'll split it down the middle, try and make it as even as possible. We did kind of struggle to get 25 predictions in. I think it's fair to say it's quite a few, but I think we've got some good ones in there. You start, Andy. What have you got there?
Okay, so my first prediction, and I purposely didn't watch Ed's video properly.
Yes.
I watched this first two just to see what he was getting at. So if ours are different, completely different, or the same to his, then sorry. But my first prediction is that I predict we will get lots of nice new models for armies when they release. By that I mean like maybe two. Like a
Okay.
character.
Okay. I mean, I would certainly hope so. And I think that's a fair, when we consider it's a model making company, I think that's a fairly solid prediction. Okay. Bookies would not offer good odds on that because you'd probably put a lot of money in it. But yeah, I agree. I think that we're definitely going to get some
I was
new models.
I was just starting off easy.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, Brill. All right. So my first prediction is that I believe we are going to get a General's Handbook. I think there is some rumors going around that will also include things like match play and missions.
Mm.
Um, what kind of form that'll take, I have no idea. I think you've recently played a game, haven't you, with Tom Carley for Welsh GT, some sort of Welsh Open.
Yeah, he went to practice for the Welsh Open tournament, which has got a bit of a. It's got some missions and stuff in there, and some army comp. It's quite. Do you know? I wasn't sure what to think of it going in, but I actually really enjoyed that game. To be honest,
Yeah.
it really made a big difference to how the game was played. Yeah, it was way more fun. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a natural course for any kind of war game. You can't just have kills more because it's really quite one dimensional. The way you win at the moment is by not dying and by killing your opponent. It's not a huge amount you can do with that really. So I think it's the natural course of things. What about your next prediction?
Continuing with models and releases, I think we'll get some new terrain.
Terrain,
And if they
like
release, on the back of what you said, if they release a handbook with missions, I feel like they may bring out some terrain this year.
okay, and expand. Do you mean terrain rules or do you mean like terrain packs?
Physical terrain. They already
Physical
do, I know,
terrain.
but I think they'll have something new. Just
Okay.
think of new things.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's a good call. And again, it's just to sort of keep it fresh, really, isn't it? The way there's such a market for it at the moment with a 3D printing market. So I mean, whether they'd want to enter that, I'm not too sure, or try
Probably
and
not.
put more of a stake into it. But I'm not too sure. But yeah, probably good bet as well. Um, my next prediction is for infantry to get a boost, and by that I mean other than just massive poison blocks. You know, I would like to see, and this probably goes in hand with the missions pack. Obviously, if you have missions that only infantry blocks can score, or units with a banner, um, you know, mainly infantry, I think that would be a really nice thing to come in. But I do want there to be a bit of a boost to that. It's not
Yeah.
quite the same fantasy that we all knew and loved.
I think
really annoying.
everybody wants that in some fashion, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I want their reason to be a reason to take Empire Militia or whatever it may be. There just isn't at the moment, so that's fine.
My next one is I predict tournament attendance will grow this year. I think it's been a good year on. People have seen that the game's staying where it is. It's got a lot of backing, as in everyone's enjoying it. It's probably boomed way more than everyone thought it would, and I think that people are now starting to get their armies painted and built, seeing that people are playing the game and it's not gone anywhere, and they'll start picking up on the tournament attendance because I think it's been quite low this year.
Mm,
There's been
yeah.
a couple of I'd say, well, this is big tournaments, but they're like 50 players, a little bit less,
Hmm.
apart from the Warhammer World one, and then a lot of the one dayers and like small 2 day GTS have been hovering around the 24 player mark, haven't they? And then the one day is like 12 players and things like that. I predict that will grow this year.
Yeah, and I hope it does. I hope it grows. It is like we did talk about it in the last video, but it really is quite it's quite disheartening when you buy a ticket for an event, you get your army painted up, you practice, and you get sort of really looking forward to it, in and amongst yourself and your friends, and then you look at the attendance list and it's like 4 people, and you think,
Yeah.
what is the point? You know,
Are people waiting for someone to buy a ticket or whatnot?
yeah,
I mean, I just went and bought a ticket for a tournament you can't now go to, for Element Games, and hoping
well,
that there's a one day on the 9th of Feb. Hoping
mhm,
Element Legends or something it's called for the old world.
yeah,
I think it's their first one of the, because they have that Legend series, don't they, for 40k, Age
yeah,
of Sigmar and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that there's a decent show. I don't know how many tickets are available. Who's bought one?
yeah.
When it was even released, but I just saw it today, so I think it was just released today. Though, to be fair,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would have gone to that. I mean, fortunately, I threw my hat in the ring for a 40k event instead. Once the tournament that we were meant to be going to in February, which was what we were talking about. We were talking about an event that there was no marketing, there was no sort of communication, and then we got told literally the day after we recorded that video that it was cancelled, and it's just again it's really disheartening.
and
So
you
I
couldn't wait. You couldn't wait to go and book a 40k tournament. As
listen,
soon as it
all
cancelled,
of
you're
our
like
mates,
buzzing.
yeah, all of our mates were going to the 40k event, and I thought, you know
Mm.
what? I've
Which
got
one is
World
it?
Eaters,
Which one is it?
Lords of the War in Bolton. So apparently decent event, decent
I heard
venue.
that.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so I figured
cheap.
I don't really like 40k, but
Yeah, don't
whatever.
backpedal now. Come on,
I don't really. I don't really. Right. Shall I move on to my next one, or have
go
you
on.
done yours? Is it me or you?
I said Thomas turns to gross. It's you.
Okay, yeah, cool. Right, okay. So my next one is that I do believe there's going to be some alterations to the Force Org chart for the Grand Army. I should say, especially for competitive play. I think that this is sort of alluding to comps that we are sort of seeing at the moment with some events. But things like, you can only have one level 4 wizard or a Lord level character. Would I think that'd be quite nice. I think that'd also answer, in some cases anyway, some
Answer.
issues. Answer, yeah, some issues that we are seeing with, I say issues, but multiple dragons that everyone seems to hate, or whatever it may be. If you're going to have one big dude, that's going to make it a bit easier. And there's definitely some rumors flying around that is something that Games Workshop are looking to do.
500 points max characters sort of thing.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's the points limit. I think it's like you could still have 1,000 points in characters, but if you can only have one level 4, I mean, immediately that changes your Mortricle list. That's a big thing that you need to think about.
I think it still
Um,
works. I think that Mortuary Cutlass still works with a level 4 and 2 level 3s, level 2 BSB. When I was rewriting the list for that comp, I'm pretty okay with that version. But anything that's like these other comps where it's like max 8 levels of wizardry, I'm like, that's gross.
yeah,
I don't know anyone that takes more than 8 levels of wizardry that isn't Tomb Kings, to be fair. So
well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think that I think that's definitely something that is going to come in at some point. Okay.
My next one is
Yeah.
I predict there will be some big delays in releases. Very typical,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think we will be expecting some stuff to come out. It won't come out on time, and it will be delayed, making for less releases this year than we hoped for.
Yeah. I mean,
Very
it's not.
cynical.
I mean, it's not cynical. It's just reading the terrain. I mean, I can't think of a single release that hasn't been delayed or has had stock issues. I mean, way back when we played, this is stretching back from when we played 40k. I mean, look at when World Eaters came out, and what 8 bound were out of stock for 6 months.
Mm.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous for a new release. It's not really gotten any better, has it? So I think
No.
that's probably a safe thing to assume. Okay. All right. My next prediction. Sorry, mine's on the phone. The phone keeps turning off. I think that Legacy will become core at some point.
You think they'll just make them into normal books?
Well, I think not making Legacy core was a mistake. I think the idea of legacy factions in the why is Skaven legacy? I know it's because I don't know what, but I assume it's because they have the range in AOS, and they want to have two separate games. But they're an absolute core faction of
Mm.
fantasy. Um, so yeah, I do think so, especially when they completely underestimated how popular it was.
So I predict I will finish painting 2 armies this year.
Nah,
I will.
that's
I
just
don't.
crazy. That's just what you're lying for.
No lies.
Yeah. Okay.
I even
Okay.
have paint in my hand right now. That's how dedicated
I mean, it's dedication. I mean, I would like to see the paint on the model rather
I
than in the bottle still, but okay, okay, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Um, I'll believe it when I see it, Oakham. I'll believe it when I see him. All right. Um, but yeah, if you can do, great, because that is something leading up to your next or one of your predictions, which I know about. All right. Um, I believe for my next prediction that TMP is going to be changed because I honestly believe it doesn't work the way it's supposed to at this stage. I don't necessarily. I do actually. I think it's too strong. As in its current iteration, it's too strong. No model should use a spell that makes you move 12 inches to move like 40 inches, which is what it's currently being used for. And it needs to change. Um, yeah,
I don't think because it is a bit of a talk at the moment. I see a few tournament organisers changing the rule, and one is specific. So people are doing it's the unit can't has to stay within 12 inches, entirely within. Sorry, so you can't you measure 12 inches from your corner of the first corner, and the entire unit can't go further than 12 from there, but you can face whichever way you want. And then I know Robert TSN's made it so no model in the unit can move more than 12 inches, which is difficult to work around that. But so yeah, a lot of places seem to really hate on TMP, which is a shame.
I mean, because it allows you to do silly things, really.
Mm.
Like so, for example, you should not be able to make a block of 50 dudes basically unchargeable, which you can do with Team Kings, unless you are playing something like my Dwarf of the five dispel runes.
Yeah.
You basically have like 600 tools to stop someone from charging you. And that's not even really, that's without TMP. You can still Mirage them, you can still Column of Crystal them, you can still chaff them, so you got all these tools, and then and then once you've finally got through, you're like, yeah, I'm going to move this whole massive block like a huge amount away, and it's just stupid. So yeah, that's my thought anyway.
I'm not too fussed about any changes to be honest. There's a little bit of extra movement in some fashion, a little bit of a readjust. It's fine. I don't mind. It was fair
Yeah,
enough.
I
Leading on
know.
from that, I think it's very similar. There will be an FAQ hopefully soon. But I think that's going to be part of what's been delayed. Is I can't imagine. A lot of people say it's going to be in January, so this month. I can't see that for some reason. It's going to be. I don't think it'll be this soon.
Yeah.
I want it to be, but I can't imagine it being this soon.
No, I can't imagine that being out there. I don't think there's enough data really for a full FAQ because there's not enough tournaments going on really at the moment.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But
That's it, and it depends
yeah,
who is it, where they gather the information from, who does this FAQ, how active they are in the game, and the sort of online talks and how present they are with that. I don't know. However, GW
okay.
decides to do that, but I predict there will be an FAQ
Hmm.
this quarter. I'd say before
Okay.
April.
Okay. Well, I would like to see that for sure. My next one is that I believe that Tomb Kings will get stronger. I think that they are going to get much stronger.
Stronger? How? How are you getting
Stronger.
stronger?
I've just got a feeling. I think they're a launch faction, and I feel like people actually think they're a lot worse than they are. Um,
Really?
yeah, I think there's. I think that unless you've played a really good player with Tomb Kings, right? And I've played Tomb Kings players at tournaments who absolutely moan about them, and they play against Bretonians, for example. And you and I know that actually Bretonians can be like that's a tough matchup for Bretonians if you play with if I play you against with using Bretts, you've got your Tomb Kings. You're a very very good Tomb King player, Andy. I know I'm going to have a really, really tough game because you know how to. It's not because you're a good player. Actually, it's quite a hard matchup for Bretonians. But the fact is, a lot of people don't see that. They just see skirmishes and Pegasus and 360-degree vision and all that kind of stuff. But it's not quite that simple. If you play against a Tomb Kings player who knows what they're doing, it's difficult. Um, so I think that there is outside of like the really competitive circles, there is a view that Tomb Kings aren't that great, and yeah, I think they're going to get better. I think they're going to. I don't think they're going to get nerfed at all, which maybe they should be.
I think they'll get some changes that will change a few things for Tomb Kings, but I don't think there's enough. I don't really see that much Tomb Kings just winning everything. You obviously see the odd player like that guy in America wins a lot of tournaments, but so does that girl with the Bretonians. They win a lot, but in the UK, you don't see. You see on the Meta Hammer, whatever that
Mm,
website's called, you see the top three lists from some tournaments at the weekends. You never see Tomb Kings just spam everywhere. You see a lot of Warriors of Chaos.
yeah, you do. Yeah,
Um, Bretonians not so much at the moment. They used to see them a fair bit, but the Tomb Kings have always been fairly steady. But you don't see them winning a lot of tournaments, which is a bit of a surprise. But I think there's so many different ways you can build Tomb Kings that there's no one set answer on the best way to make them. There's just lots of different things you
yeah,
can do. Yeah, people are just having fun with it. So.
yeah. Fun's an optimistic term.
But yeah, but the version I
I'm
built
joking. I'm joking.
is no, the version I built is just to be competitive with it. It's to be very points denial because that's just the
Yeah, I
mission.
know. I actually quite like playing your Two Kings. To be fair, at the moment,
Really.
yeah, I do. I used to hate it. I used to have the mother of all hissy fits every time you played because it
Yeah,
was just depressing. But now it's like actually the challenge is to crack it. It's not to crack.
there you go.
Um,
I made it fun.
well, no, you didn't. They're
Right,
quite the opposite.
my, my next prediction then
Yeah,
is that me and you, will make some real life battle reports with painted terrain and painted armies
bloody hell!
in
You're
December
pushing.
2025.
Yeah, you're pushing the boat out. Yeah, December 2025. Right. So to do this, we need to invest in equipment, which
Well, we have the tower for the middle piece of terrain that I got
fantastic.
when the game started. I've got the 3D printed tower, which is really cool, and then I have the links for the terrain to get. It will match up to be two houses, two hills, two
Okay.
forests to make the terrain out of TSN stuff, sure, the square
Mhm.
based stuff. But I know a fair few tournaments that are trying to do mass tables do that, so I guess it's okay for the games to practice. Now, one thing I did play that mission on the Welsh Practice Open tournament against Tom Carley yesterday. we played on a WTC map, and that had like one of each piece of terrain on the table. So it had 6 pieces, I think it was. It had a rocky
Oh.
outcrop that was impossible, had a hill, had a
Mhm.
pond that was aquatic, it had a forest, it had a like a cornfield thing,
Okay.
and then it had a ruin.
Yeah.
It had like a bit of everything, and you know what? So the sides weren't mirrored. I mean, it had two little like walls to be low linear objects. So it had like all the bits of terrain rules in there. Now the sides weren't mirrored, but it was hard to see what was going to be a favourable side. Like, oh, that side's got that, because I don't
Mhm.
think there wasn't a hill in someone's deployment zone, for
Mhm.
example. And I tell you what, that made it really interesting to play on, like having to with all the different types of terrain and not just being so linear. I actually quite enjoyed it.
All right. Fair enough.
It's
There
so
we
much
go.
so I kind of want to go to the Welsh Open now.
Well, I mean, when is the Welsh Open?
I don't know. Soon.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's like next week. So
We
I
might
don't
have
know.
missed the boat on that. To be fair.
Probably.
Yeah. Especially
It's
as I'm going to
it's also like
UKTC.
3.5 hour drive away.
Ah, it's all right. It's fine. Don't mind doing that. All right. Okay. Yeah. Good prediction. All right. So this one's not really a prediction. I will say this is probably more of a wish list, really. But I would like shooting to be tweaked a little bit.
Better or worse?
Better for things that aren't Tomb Kings. Um, or Empire, I guess. I mean, Empire can are pretty good with the gun line as well. But it feels like it it kind of feels. You know what it feels like? It feels like Lord of the Rings. Like, when if you've got like shooting units,
It's so hard to hit.
it's just so pointless. Artillery is just so pointless. Like, you've got so many hoops to jump through, and then if you actually hit and wound, then you've probably got, if you go for like a big unit, you've probably got 3 saves to get through. It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I would like that to be tweaked somewhat. Maybe just make it a little less complicated in terms of what gives you a minus to hit. Maybe just make it a bit more streamlined. Make artillery just a bit more, like, so what would be a really good answer for artillery, um, is if you get rid of split profiles on like magic, on like dragons. Sorry, bring back split profiles. Bring back the rider and the dragon. So I've got a chance of hitting your rider, for example, or I've got a chance of hitting your dragon, which might have less saves.
Do you think that
Um,
overcomplicates the game more having split profiles?
Not really, no, no. Something
No.
that was in all the other editions of fantasy, and quite frankly, I'd like my cannon to have a chance of hitting something that hasn't got 3 saves and actually doing something to that model. Do you know what I mean?
All right.
Um, but I don't know what that's. I don't think that will actually happen. So it's not really a prediction. It's more of a what I'd like to happen.
It's a risk. If you make shooting good, you're making 40k again. I think shooting has to be okay to not great, because if shooting's really good, you run the risk of making the game really boring by making shooting armies super prevalent. And I think shooting needs to be that just a little bit of extra chip and damage, and to catch that thing that's far away, and just do bits of wounds to make it so that the combat that's meant to be the game's kind of meant to be intended for is that if they
I
make sure you're
Yeah,
a bit better in that combat because you've killed a few of their guys on the way in. Um,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think strengthening shooting, you got to get this really fine balance before, without making it silly. At the moment, I think it's okay.
Hmm.
It's okay to yeah. It's better than not great. It's okay because no
There are
one.
some really good units, aren't there? Like Iron Drakes are amazing,
Yeah,
and like
you know,
Poison Bricks are obviously amazing against the right target.
yeah. But
Um,
I think poison bricks are completely fine
mhm.
because it levels out dragon meta.
Yeah,
So and,
and
and
also again, you have to be against the right target. You can't
yeah,
just
yeah.
like Poison Bricks are like useless against certain things.
Yeah. Now it makes large targets probably not great. So maybe if they change it just to be behemoths, then it's not
Mhm.
too bad. Because things that are just large targets, which aren't fantastic, maybe like I can't think of an example off the top of my head right now, but things that are just large targets, like, and they're like 5 or 6 wounds, you kind of like, that's a bit of a shame to just get poison break to death. Whereas something that's a big behemoth tends to be rather a bit tougher with at least 2 saves kind of thing. So having poison bricks help answer those, I think is okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
So maybe make it just behemoths rather than large targets. But it doesn't really make much massive sense because it's a large target. But
Mm.
figure it out.
Hmm. Your next one?
My next one's not very Warhammer related, but is I will pay back my coffee debt.
No.
Now, I am in a massive, massive deficit with the coffees that I owe Tom here, and I predict that I will pay back at least 5 of them.
At least 5 over. I don't even believe that. I don't even believe that over the course of a year. We're talking. By the way, if I was like a creditor and you were in debt, like I would be petitioning for your bankruptcy right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I
Like,
would be coffee bankrupt. So the
yeah,
story is I go around to Tom's house a fair bit, and he will always make me at least 2 to 3 coffees when I go around, and I will make absolutely zero. Though I have made a couple as just to tease him, but
it's true.
Tom has definitely made over 200 plus coffees on top of the ones I've made for him. So I do owe him. I owe him a lot of
You
coffees.
do owe me a lot of coffee, yeah, which is annoying because I've actually cut down on coffee, which is hey
There
ho.
you go. But
But
to my
you,
favor.
but you're still gonna pay it back. You're gonna pay. You're gonna pay. Um, yeah, I don't believe that for a second. Um, my next one is High Elves. They're due for a early release, I believe, and I think they're
You
going to
know,
be at. Who knows? But like that's what they say. I mean, I think they're going to be absolutely busted.
busted.
I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be real good. Yeah,
Yeah,
real good.
yeah. I'd like that. Everyone loves high elves. They're very much a staple, aren't they?
Hmm.
And they've always been known to be busted. So
Hmm.
at the moment, they're not so busted. They're okay.
Yeah, they've
So
got one good build at the moment
yeah,
that people seem.
dragons and
Yeah.
Sisters of Avalon. Yeah. So if they do make them busted, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Everyone likes high elves. So
Yeah.
you hate them, but you like them.
Exactly. If you don't mind, just before you go to your next prediction, I may as well get mine out of the way because it's kind of related to that. With the High Elf release, I predict that they will also release Tyrion and Teclis, which I really hope they do. My two favorite characters.
Everyone likes them. I believe that one can't show up or something. From somebody who knows about lore was saying, but one of them can. I don't quite understand it, but
They're twins. Well, if one can, the other one can. Surely,
yeah. But wasn't someone explaining the story of why they both won't show up?
no, I don't know. Maybe I don't listen to
Maybe,
a lot of what people
maybe I
tell me.
was maybe I was
Yeah.
dying at the time. I'm pretty sure during Christmas, but I'm sure someone was explaining why both won't show up at the same time. Oh,
Well, that would be rubbish if they only brought one of the twins in. That would earn a GWA a strongly worded email. Let me tell
I'm
you.
not very good. I'm not outside of the Gertrude and Felix. Like a couple of stories that I read, I'm not really up on the law side of things, unfortunately.
Well, like I say, a strongly worded email.
My next one there'll be like meta shifts, right? So in competitive games, tournaments and things like that, there'll be at the moment everyone's complaining about TMP and poison blocks and things, though they're not winning everything at all. But I think somebody will come up with something new. Now I thought that was over the SBOT Squarebase Online tournament where someone came up with the Royal Host block, and everyone thought that's going to be like a thing.
Hmm.
It's not been a thing at all, which is crazy. No
Hmm.
one's talked about it since or used it, but it was lingering on everyone's tongues for quite a while after during the SBOT tournament, and it's just disappeared completely off the face of the earth. But I think somebody will come up with something super interesting in the next coming months that will shift things about a bit, and everyone will be like, "What is this?" Like when poison blocks came out,
Yeah.
no one was playing poison blocks before, and then suddenly I don't know where they just came out of nowhere and everyone was playing them.
Yeah.
I think something like that will happen
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
the first quarter, because obviously there's books that come out and change things anyway. But in the first quarter, I think someone will come up with something interesting. We'll see a tournament and be like, ooh.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I agree with that. I've only got one more, so I'm just gonna bring it out there, which is I believe that I predict that there'll be more comp. I think there's I actually don't like that, but this is just a trend from what I'm seeing from the end of 2024.
Yeah,
People were getting very hung upon certain comps, certain well, even the way points are scored and in tournaments, and whether it's a 20-0 system, whether it's win loss draw, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't. Unfortunately, this is one of the negative predictions. I don't see that getting any better.
Was
There's
that
other.
one
Sorry.
unified comp? You know, like the
I hope that General's Handbook would stop that, which is my first prediction. So I hope a General's Handbook would come out that'd be sufficient to not warrant people in, putting their own comps on it. Like house rules are fine. If you want to go to a club and play house rules, I don't care. It's your hobby. Do what you want with it. But if it's a tournament scene,
Mm.
I find it personally like, for example, in 40k. I absolutely hate the fact that UKTC and the WTC have different comps for different things, different terrain layouts, even all that kind of stuff. I hate it. It's like you're playing two different games. Do you know what I mean?
You just want to play the one game all the time.
Oh, but yeah, don't you? Don't you want a bit of consistency? I mean, I like a bit of variation in terms of the missions and all that kind of stuff, but I want the core rules to be the same.
Do you know? I don't know how I feel about it because I quite liked just playing the sort of square based stuff we were, because that was that was kind of the tournaments we were going to and what our friends were going to and talking about. So it kind of became a staple of the terrain layouts we play on Warhol and things like that. But after playing that one yesterday, that kind of sparked my interest a little bit with things. And also hearing people playing like the 3,000 point tournament that they played the other weekend, and then people talking about increasing points and things like that. I wouldn't like to go below 2,000 points. I don't think I could.
No,
I think I'd enjoy 1,000 point or 1,200 or 1,500 point
it's too
tournament.
small as it is. Some armies are just too small as
Yeah,
they are.
I feel like you don't get enough toys on the table. But I don't know how I feel. At first, my first reaction to playing more than 2,000, I was like, oh no, 2,000's fine. But now I'm thinking maybe point increases will change the game a little bit. I don't know. And
I don't mind, but then again, that's fine. I don't mind different formats for tournaments. In that, like, one tournament might be 2,500, and one tournament might be 2,000 or 3,000, whatever it is. That's fine. But when you start introducing different rules or different comps to the way certain rules are interpreted, that's when I have an issue.
yeah, my point was just lead on the
Yeah,
fact that I was about, you just want to kind of play the same game every time. Sorry, so I
as
kind of
in the cool rules. Sorry, yeah, the
yeah,
cool
I know,
rules.
but
Yeah,
I kind of trailed off.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how that was your last one because I've got four more.
I'll be honest with you. Full disclosure: I had a list on my phone, and my phone just deleted the list for some reason. So I'm just going to assume that that's it. It felt right. But don't forget, I'm only one behind. So because I've done two in a row with Teclis and High Elves.
Yeah, I
So
don't know how I've got four more. Anyway, well, the next one I had was changes to rules interactions, and I can't fully remember what I was thinking about at that point. But changes to what did I mean at the time of writing that
I've
one?
no idea. Isn't that the same as a General's Handbook or Comp?
No, it wasn't. It was. I think it was like to do with like kind of FAQ stuff, like an errata of how they were going to. So yeah, like skirmishes, for example, and how they interact with the game, and some things like that. They're going to potentially change how certain rules in the book work, because a lot of stuff's kind of a bit, especially around combat and how things, because the game isn't like linear. It's just squaring off each other. You come out from all angles. Your skirmishes involved. It can get a little bit hectic. I was feeling like they might change things up a little bit with that, and how like skirmishes and stuff work, because they're a bit, like people say, a bit broken. They kind of break the game in some fashion. So I was predicting they might change something there with that.
Okay.
Next one here, I've got UK rankings. So they brought out the ranking system as obviously a worldwide one. The Australians, I believe it was, who brought it out, which is really cool. And I can see in like the Discord chats, people are talking about it, like how to best format it would work in and things like that. So I think that'll be a decent thing that's going to kick off in 2025. I know they're thinking about a Masters for 2025, so I guess it'll start in the 2020. That the Masters will be in 2026, as it were. So it gives the whole of 2025 a go once it's all started. And I believe that'd be quite interesting. Have a little Masters series.
It feels like 2010 again with Masters and Invitationals and
Yeah,
everything.
the UK tournament circuit thing that they
Yeah.
had then. Yeah,
My,
yeah. So
my one hesitation with anything to do with rankings is that I feel like I think that it's cool. It does promote a bit of friendly competition, I guess. you don't want it to turn out like Rankings HQ way back in the
That's it.
day.
Rankings
Yeah,
HQ.
Rankings HQ, where you'd get some people making up events and saying there was 60 players and that you won them, and these events were completely fictional, didn't happen.
I think in this day and age, that's probably too hard. I don't think people are able to get away with that in this day and age.
I know, but you honestly, the depths people will sink to just to gain some. I don't know. Yeah.
If they do, they do. But I think for the everyday Joe, and it brings that other level to tournaments and things. People love the recognition. They love the extra competition outside of this tournament, knowing that that tournament you attended and you won meant even more because that went on a ranking system, and you're looking forward to the Masters where you're going to get a tournament where it's going to be the best of the best playing out. And some people enjoy that, some people hate it. It's fine. You don't have to enjoy it. You don't have to be involved in any way, sense, or form. But I just quite like the fact that it's another thing that's there. So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah, big fan of that. The second to last one I've got is a new army. So I'm hoping to collect and build something new for this year that is not my Bretonians or Tomb Kings,
Mm-hmm.
and will potentially be hoping Chaos.
I think that's
See what else there is that from the new releases, because I also like a few other armies as well. I like Chaos Dwarves too, so we'll see.
I just remembered my last one, by the way, as you said that. Yeah. But I agree. I'd actually like to see you do Chaos, because I know that you're an old school Chaos player, and Chaos is cool.
Everyone's Chaos.
Everyone loves Chaos, and I think if we do get to the point where we're doing live, well, not live, but like real time battle reports.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to do anything. The reason why we've not done it up until now is because we don't want it to be rubbish. We want it to, I do try and, whilst we're not professional, I do want there to be a certain level of quality in what we do. I think Chaos is a popular faction that people would like to see as well. But it's up to obviously it's up to you, your army. At the end of the day, my last prediction, sorry, which I completely forgot. I believe there will be a new mystery faction. That'll be released. There will be a faction that we may not have seen for at least many years. I don't think it'll be Cathay, but I don't know what it'll be. I think
Regiments of Renown. Do you think they'll bring those back in?
Maybe, but I think they'll just
Legion
be.
of Command, or if it was called that.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
I just think there's going to be a new faction from not a new, maybe an old new faction, if that makes sense. Like they did with obviously Votan in 40k, and bringing back squats. Yeah.
I'd like them to do something with allies and things like that, and have like an allies a proper like section of book about allies, to making them be able to introduce those into the game without the game being busted. Because at the moment, if you brought in allies for something, you just solve all problems armies have, and you can make some ridiculous, lists with them. So I'd like them to bring something in with regards to allies and making them at least partially useful, and not have it so every tournament bans them. That'd be interesting. That was my prediction. But the last prediction is, I believe we will be here doing this show in 12 months' time.
Absolutely. We will have released in that time probably 18 videos. Yeah. Okay. No, I'd very much like that. I'd love that. And I don't really care how many subscribers we have. I don't really care what we get in terms. It's not like, say, this will ever get to a point where it's going to be a large channel. But I do like talking hobby, and I like making videos. And messing out on my PC, it gives me an opportunity to mess about with a PC, which is cool.
Yeah, use your expensive PC to the best of its abilities.
Well, yeah, exactly. So that is something that I'd like to do, for sure. Well, I don't think there's anything else. Well, that's it. 25 predictions.
I think that was 25. I hope it was.
If it's a bit shy, we apologise. We are terrible.
You should do when you edit it. You should do a count next to each one of the predictions, just to make sure.
I'm editing this tonight. There's not a chance I'm doing that. It's not. I'm already having to edit out having to sort out a child, which is fine.
Cut out a section.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so there's not a chance. Yeah, I mean, well, is there anything that you want to add, Andy, or are we finished with that?
No, that was an interesting little task
Interesting.
and
Mhm.
thing to go through. So
It is
it
putting pen
was.
to paper and thinking about things that's going to happen. If you agree with any of the predictions, then please let us know. If you don't agree with them, it's what we like. Really, we like a bit of conflict and a bit of back chat, as it were. Please leave a comment.
And just to add as well, it was actually more difficult to think of any predictions at all than
Yeah, that's why half yours weren't to do with the hobby. So exactly.
I was like, I was sat
Yeah.
reading like, I can't think of like a few more like.
Yeah, it's fine.
Copied it.
It's fine. It's fine. We got it on a video. It's fine. Ed, apologies. It's not been the smoothest run. Right. Well, we'll see you in the next one.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.